Hey there, Christopher McCore from SoYouWantToPlayGuitar.com, and you can find me on Facebook at So You Want to Play Guitar, and you can find me on YouTube at So You Want to Play Guitar. Today I'm going to show you, we've been doing the diatonic chord progressions. We did C, we did D, we did E, so I'm going to move to F today, and F is, because F is a kind of a difficult key for guitar, we're kind of forced to use bar chords. But the good thing about using bar chords is that they're modular. So once you learn, once we learn the progression for F, we'll be able to move that to any key we want. So if you're not familiar with diatonic chord progressions, you might want to check with my other videos for C diatonic or D diatonic or E. But basically, a diatonic chord progression is sort of like a do re mi, right? That's called solfege. It's like a do re mi scale, but just with chords, right? So if we're in the key of F, the chord progression would be do re mi fa sol la ti do, right? But there's a certain template of chords, a sequence in a diatonic chord progression. You have a major one chord, you have a minor two chord, you have a minor three chord, then you have a major four chord and a major five chord, and then a minor six chord, and then you have, typically you in the standard one you would have a diminished seventh chord, but that's kind of antiquated, and the substitution that works well for that is it's a five chord but a seven, a dominant seventh five chord, and then you're back to your one. So let's go ahead and go through this in a linear fashion, and then we'll try one or maybe more different approaches. All right, so here's I'm going to assume that you already know your bar chords, but I'll move kind of slowly and gently just in case you don't. So a bar chord, of course, is when you're barring across all six strings, and this is a single bar. So we've got my third finger on the third. So my first finger's on the first fret. Then we got my third finger on the third fret of the fifth string, pinky right next to it on the fourth string, and then I've got that second finger there on the second fret of the third string. So there's a single bar chord, and it's a major, right? So then we're going to move to the two chord, which is a minor. So I just move up two, and then I have everything the same except I take that second finger off. And you can hear how that's a different chord, right? Here's the major. That's a minor chord. We're going to do the same thing for the three chord, right? It's just that minor bar chord, single bar chord moved up. And now we're going to go to the double bar, just so we're not going up the neck and we're keeping it all kind of down below, so it's, you don't have to watch as much. So now we're going to go to the double bar major, right? Which is I've got a bar again across here, but now the tonic on that F chord, it was on the sixth string. Now the tonic is actually on the fifth string, and then I do this kind of, it's like an A chord, right? But we're moving it, right? This is an A, and this is a B flat, right? So there's a double bar major, and then we move it up two for the double bar five chord, which is major also. Okay, so now we're going to go up to the sixth chord, which would be two frets up, but we're going to have to make this chord, this major chord, into a minor chord. So I'm going to take this note, which is the third of the chord. That's the major third. So it makes it a major chord. I'm going to flat that. So I got to rearrange my fingers in order to do that. So we actually get a formation here that looks a lot like the single bar major, right? Except it's not on these these three fingers are not on the fifth, the fourth, and the third. They're actually on the fourth, the third, and the second. And so that's a D. That's a D minor. Right? So we have F major, G minor, A minor, B flat major, C major, D minor. Okay, so now we're going to go to that 7 chord, and like I said before, it's the substitution for the diminished seventh that would in the past that's been the 7 chord. We're going to use a 5 7. We're going to use the 5 chord, which is the C, but we're going to turn it into a 7 chord. In other words, we're going to take this C and we're going to flat that, so the bar is going to cover that, and so we've taken that finger out of there, and so there's this. Then we're back to 1. C7 back to 1. C7 back to 1. So if we do that linearly with kind of a bit of a strum, we got. All right, so now we could do that just to kind of practice this a bit. We could do that with a skip scale, right? Skip scale is when you go 1 to the 2, then you go back to 1, then you go to the 3, then you go back to the 1, you go to the 4, back to the 1 to the 5, then back to the 1 to the 6, then back to the 1 to the 5 7 to the 1. So that's the skip scale. Or we could do a grouping, and a common grouping is in 3, so we can go 1 2 3. Then we start on 2 2 3 4. Then we start on 3 3 4 5. And then we start on 4 4 5 6. And then we start on 5 and we go 5 6 7. And then we're back to 1. All right, so that's the grouping. So the this is another approach that I'm not sure if I've shown this yet, but it's called intervals, and it's a little bit similar to the grouping, but instead of going 1 2 3, we're just going to go 1 right to the 3, and then we're going to start on the 2 and go right to the 4. In other words, we keep we start with a chord, and then we skip one and go to the next one. Then we go to the 2 chord of the progression, and we skip one and go to the next one. So we got F to A minor, and then we've got G minor to B flat, and then we've got A minor to C, and then we've got B flat to D, and then we've got C to C7. Right, we're going up to the 5 7 chord, and then back to 1. So if we did that with a bit of a strum, it would be. So that's the interval approach, and like I said, so now we have this modular chord progression pattern, and so we could play that in the key of F sharp. We could go. Sorry. Here, let's start again. Right, or we could do it in G or A, or we just move it up the neck, and that's the great thing about bar chords is that once you learn the formations, you can move them anywhere and you can play in any key. So hope this was helpful. Once again, just to conclude, this is the F diatonic chord progression done with single and double bar chords, and the three kind of chords that we're using are a major chord, a minor chord, and a 5/7 chord, a dominant seventh chord, and and this once again, we did the interval approach. I mean, we did the linear approach, we did the skip scale, we did the grouping, but we added the the interval approach, and this whole thing is modular. So, yeah, I hope this was helpful. And once again, I'm Christopher McClure from SoYouWantToPlayGuitar.com, and on Facebook it's So You Want to Play Guitar, and on YouTube it's So You Want to Play Guitar. So be well and happy playing.